I will gladly shoot at 1/8,000.
No. No.
Who the hell eats a cupcake like that? And also, kid, get the heck out of here.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Gimbal Guys podcast. I'm your host, Sam, along with my co-host, Nick. We are SeaMount Weddings, and we're coming to you from the Ascend studio. Good to be back in here. How are you doing?
Oh, God.
Come on, generic podcast small talk. Let's do it.
Talk. Yeah, and I'm good. It's snowing today, so the roads aren't great, but still made it here. Kind of just a chill, cold winter day. It's a weekend, so like there's like 10 people in this building probably.
Yeah. It may be cold outside, but today we've got some hot
Oh my
takes
God,
to
do
warm us
not
up.
just do that. Did you set that up?
I was thinking last night I was thinking of like the perfect hot take
Oh
pun
my
we could
God,
do.
as soon
Like,
as you
it's
started
getting
talking,
steamy
I
in
knew
here.
exactly where that was going.
No, that one came to me right now. I'm
God.
I'm so proud of that. I'm so proud of that.
All right,
But
well,
yeah.
as you said, hot takes. Both from like the generic kind of like wedding perspective, but also as like videographers, wedding videographers. We got some hot takes here.
Yeah, we've got a bunch. We may go rapid fire. We may break it up into a couple parts. We're just going to feel it out and see where this goes, I guess. Do you want to go first or should I go first? You go first.
Okay.
You're prepped.
I'm probably not going to go in order here. I'm just going to say some that I
Yeah, just go
think.
for it.
But I will start at the top for the first one. So if we have family photos are, I don't want to say stupid, but capture like for videographers to capture family photos, it's unnecessary.
Agreed. Unnecessary, but what we do, well, we should be there for family photos regardless. Like, we don't need video of like you standing there getting your photo taken. We film it anyway, just
Like, okay,
'cause.
personally, unless the couple specifically says like, oh, I have like an elderly relative, like
yeah,
get them.
exactly.
Unless they say that, I don't even think we need to be there. I think we could easily just not be standing there and use our time somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a waste of time, but it kind of is.
Yeah, I think I'd rather, usually that's like cocktail hour or something, or that's like usually before the ceremony. So
We don't waste both of our time.
Yeah,
Like always, at least one of us is out doing other things.
Yeah, one of us will do something else. One of us will capture family photos. I like, for the family photo portion of the day, I like capturing like before they get their photo taken and after they get their photo taken. Like that little brief kind of like candid interaction. Sometimes you'll get a hug or a smile, a laugh, something just kind of like random nice. And it's especially good if you want to overlay in some of those relatives who, you know, might not be on the dance floor later, or they may not have been part of the ceremony. So it's a nice opportunity to still capture some of those people, but like the video shot standing like to the side of the photographer, it's just doesn't really look that good.
No.
And I mean, we're guilty of it. We've used it in films
Sure,
before.
it gets used every once in a while.
Yeah.
More so as like a filler. If like something like I just need a quick little half a second of something. But I could easily go an entire edit without using it.
Yeah.
Like, it's not, like I said, unless they specifically say there's someone they want and the family photos are the only time to really capture them, then yeah, obviously do that. Otherwise, not necessary.
Yeah. So if you're a client and you're like, why isn't my videographer not at family photos? They just don't really need to be there. That's it.
I stopped myself from saying something way too harsh.
Okay. Say it. Do it.
I can't. It's
Okay.
like too mean.
Tell me later. All right, cool. That's hot take number one. Off to a good start. I'm going to go down just the list
You
here.
can say whatever one.
Yeah. I feel like this is just beaten to the ground at this point, but like garter toss, bouquet toss, thing of the past. I don't think those need to be at any weddings going forward. Bouquet toss, sure, maybe you can still do it. Garter toss, you know.
I would even throw the cake cutting in there. I think all of it can go. Like, I don't see any of those three events as like a notable thing. Half the
Yeah.
time, everyone wants to do their cake cutting in private anyway.
Yeah.
So, or more than half the time, honestly.
Yeah. We did plenty of cake cutting this previous wedding season. And like, I think it's fine, but I would say 99% of those couples were like, oh yeah, it's unannounced. We're doing it privately. And, you know, I think it's more of they were more so doing it to please like their parents or something, because it was a traditional part of the wedding day. And like, sure, it's a nice little photo to have. More so photo than video. And again, something we'll capture.
I think the only time I would like want to capture a cake cutting specifically is if the people are like really, really fun and like have pre-planned that they're gonna like smash it in each other's faces or something. Then that makes it more entertaining. But if it's just a normal little thing, which it is 99% of the time, it's just kind of not something that needs to be captured.
And don't smash cake in your partner's face if you haven't talked about it beforehand.
Right.
Duh. Yeah, those little random formalities probably
It's
not
a
necessary.
traditional thing.
Yeah, especially garter toss. We've only done
only
a
think
couple of
of
those
one.
ever, one or two of them, and hopefully we never do them again because they're kind of weird.
Yeah.
Not a fan. Anyway, that's number 2. What do you got now?
This is one that we talked about previously, but I will say it again because it bothers me to no end. Children at weddings.
Get them out. No, thank
Look,
you.
As we said before, kids are great everywhere except weddings. The only kids that I think should be allowed in the wedding is if they're part of the actual wedding. Like if there's a ring bearer or there's like little flower kids, like totally allowed. Like fine with it. Very cute. Capturing them.
Or they're like
sprinkling.
extremely mature for their age. If they're like calm and can handle the crowd and all
But
that sort of stuff, then it's fine.
99% of kids are not like that.
No.
And we just had way too many experiences where they've gotten in our way, almost knocked our stuff down, or just straight up like annoy the shit out of me.
Yeah. They make noise. They might. Sometimes it's dangerous if they're running around and there's like
I think of
setups and
the
stuff.
kid from the one where it was raining doing somersaults, and then I think of the cupcake kid. Like, get out of here.
Do we tell the story of the cupcake kid here?
No. I think it's okay because it's not like.
Yeah. No, I think it's really
okay. So
hilarious.
literally, there was a lot of speeches for this wedding. There was probably like 5 or 6. During every single one of them, there was this little girl. And I say little girl in quotes. She was like, I think she was at least 10 or 12. Like she was not a little kid.
No.
She knew exactly what she was doing and what she should have been doing. But no, this child goes up, stands right next to whoever is speaking on the mic during their little speech and just like inches away. So like there's no way I can reframe it to get her out of it. I tried, couldn't do it. And she's just sitting there or standing there eating cupcakes. But it's not even that. She was eating them in the weirdest way. Like she took a toothpick and was using a toothpick as a fork, taking the teeniest bites off of a toothpick of this cupcake. And I'm like, first off, who the hell eats a cupcake like that?
Yeah.
And also, kid, get the heck out of here.
Wasn't she like staring into the camera too?
Yeah,
or something?
no, she knew I was filming
That's like
her.
just creepy.
And on all of our angles, she was just there. And then she would drift away and she would go over to the couple. So she was in that camera too. And then as soon as she was done over there, she went back over to the speaker and just like looked up at them like, I don't know, eating a cupcake. And I'm like, what are you doing? And also, whose child is this? Can you like remove them? Because it was a big wedding and everyone was like watching. And I'm like, does no one care that this kid is just up here?
Yeah. No kids. Period.
Yeah.
That simple as that. Just don't bring kids to your wedding. If you want kids, fine. You're going to have to reap the consequences.
Hire a babysitter or just don't come.
Yeah. Okay, cool. That's a good one. Let's see what we got here. We've talked about first looks before, but I think there's a few kind of hot takes within the first look world. I guess I'll just say it. Like, I think everybody should just do one. I think it just makes the day.
Is that what you meant by like when you were team first look?
I'm team first look. And sure, embrace tradition if you want to, But I think if you're on the fence, just do one. It makes the day so much easier. Logistics go so much more smooth. Makes it easier. Just do it.
Well, I was listening to other podcasts and a lot of other videographers were saying that they don't like first looks, which made no sense to me. Like maybe it's just because the way we film, we like really like the audio we get out of first looks. Maybe other people don't do it the way we do it.
Yeah, and I mean we don't always get something out of it, but I just know I see the weight being lifted off of their shoulders if they're seeing their partner for the first time. They feel a lot more relieved. There's always some sort of stress or nerves going into the day. You know, the morning of, you're always feeling something, and then you just see your person across from you, then you can just take a deep breath. If it's just for that purpose too, it doesn't even need to be captured. If it's just for that purpose, it's worth it. But there's a few kind of like spin-offs of first looks that are like, don't think they really need to be there. One of them is first touches. Get that out of here. I think they're
I can
silly.
see it for a photographer, and it makes sense. It's like because you're literally just holding hands or something. So yeah, it would look good in a video or in a photo, but as videographers, it looks strange on camera.
Yeah,
like to have like a 2-minute thing of you just like holding hands, especially if it's like around the corner of something. I hate that the most.
If you really want to keep the tradition, but that really helps you decompress, fine. But I think in most cases, it just ends up being weird.
Yeah. Wait, for first looks, do you prefer if they're like long or like if they're like fairly short? Or doesn't matter to you?
I'm just going to go back to the spiel that we give everybody. If it's 5 seconds, 5 minutes, or 10 seconds, 10 minutes, I don't know what the number is. However long it needs to be is however long it should be. I think if you're like standing there trying to like drag it out, we've had people look to us like, okay, we're good now. Like that's when you're done. If you want to just keep chatting and embracing each other, perfect. I don't care how long it is. Maybe not 30 minutes, because then we got to get to other things so your ceremony doesn't run late. But
I think in a perfect world, I personally prefer if they're around like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Like we had one earlier this year that was like 15 minutes, and like selfishly I just didn't like it because I was getting tired just standing still holding the camera.
Well, that's your problem.
Because like I couldn't really move, so I was kind of just stuck in this position for like 15 minutes, and I'm like, is it over yet?
We did one where they I didn't know they were gonna go into their vows or their like personal vows or something right away, and I was like in a bush, and I was like, if I would have known this, I probably wouldn't have gone in the bush, but I got through it. It was fine. I think when they're longer too, just selfishly from the videographer standpoint, we get more to work with. So
yeah.
I'll take it. But another kind of like first look thing, I think first looks with people other than your to-be spouse, you don't really need them. First look with dads,
I think that's fine.
those are fine. Leave it at that though. Anybody else?
Even there, those are still definitely hit or miss. But like overall, yes, I think they're fine.
I think even first looks with bridesmaids too are kind of like if they've seen the dress hanging and stuff already, and they like know what the dress looks like, and maybe some of them have seen you try it on in the store. You don't really need to do like you don't need to do a posed first look with your bridesmaids. I think it can be more casual. Like you can just walk around the corner, and it's like you don't need to do a first look with your bridesmaids for the cameras, if that makes sense. I think sure, come out and they can all like, oh my God, you look great, like that sort of thing. But
I actually don't mind, but I think I prefer bridesmaids first looks over dad first looks actually.
Yeah,
I don't think they're okay. I've done a lot, like a handful of them.
I don't think it's necessary.
Yeah,
necessary
maybe
is the key word there.
Maybe. I think every time I've captured it, I have used it for the most part.
Yeah.
It's a little harder for me personally because I'm normally on a 50. Yeah. So it does make it a little difficult to capture, but when I can,
then you just shoot the bride.
Yeah, but I would rather be getting the faces, like the reactions.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't think it's necessary. It's nice if you think you're going to have that reaction, if you think there's that element of surprise, but if they've like kind of been with you through the process, then there's not really like a point. Again,
they're
do
they're
whatever you want.
They're probably faking their reactions anyway.
Oh, they definitely are.
So.
I've seen it. They're
like,
oh my God.
Yeah.
Jinx. But the first looks with dads, are, some of them are like, the dads aren't like emotional people, so it doesn't really like result in anything.
And I think that those are the times where like the bride just wanted to do it because she thought it was like a traditional thing to do. But if like your dad is not like that type of person, I wouldn't make them do that because you're not going to get anything out of them.
Yeah. Some of them will just be, oh, wow, you look great. That sort of thing. And that's it. Like, sure. If you want that, fine. I mean, you probably will end up having some form of first look with your dad, whether it's like formal or captured or not, because usually they're like walking you down the aisle. But so like usually those can stay. And then I've seen some people just doing first looks with anybody and everybody. So like
I think siblings. The siblings ones are the most awkward for me.
Because like your brother isn't going to like break down crying. He'll be like, oh, like you look great.
Yeah,
cool.
like their
It's
reactions
sure.
make me cringe sometimes.
Yeah. He's like your brother, like or your sister. Like they're not gonna. I don't know. There's nothing super crazy happening there. I don't feel like it's super necessary to do. And then once you start just adding like all these extra first looks too, again, it just eats into your timeline where you could be doing other things.
In a similar vein ish to this like bride and like dress stuff, something that I don't think we need is the shot of the dress hanging like from the hanger like somewhere. I think that we don't need to do it. Like
it's funny, all of us creatives say that, but we still capture it.
Okay, look, we still capture it because 99% of the time the photographer sets it up, and I'm not just gonna walk away from it. I'm gonna capture it so people like think I'm doing my job.
Yeah,
but
and some brides still ask for it.
Yeah, obviously,
they ask the photographer.
If anyone asks for anything specific, you do it. But if it's not asked, and if the photographer doesn't set it up, I will not go out of my way to be like, oh, guys, we should get the dress hanging.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's if that moment is past, that moment is past. Like we don't need it. But that kind of leads to kind of like that first portion of the day, which I think you wrote this one down. But I guess kind of a hot take is our one of our favorite parts of the day is actually getting ready. Like when we first get there.
I think it is actually like my number one favorite part of the day.
Yeah, which a lot of people would definitely disagree with.
Definitely disagree.
Why do you say it's your favorite part of the day?
I think it's because this might have something to do with it. Being like a natural introvert, it's a time where I don't need to like go over the top. And sure, like when I need to on the day I do, but it's a time where I can like be a little more just like chill because it's a very chill environment.
Yeah.
For the most part, like everyone's kind of just like not stressed yet for the day. So they're more or less treating it like a regular day. They're just hanging out. It can even be a little boring sometimes, and I'm okay with that because it's just more relaxing and less stressful. It's also more fun because when we have more time, I have more of an opportunity to think of like different types of shots. Like in, the bridal suites and stuff, there's usually a bunch of mirrors. So like finding fun reflective shots through mirrors, like that's always interesting to do.
Yeah.
And when you're like running around on like a time crunch later on the day, I feel like I don't have enough time to think of more creative shots. So I normally fall back to like what works. But in the getting ready stages, when I have time, I feel like that's honestly the time where I feel possibly the most creative throughout the day.
Yeah. It's the calm before the storm.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Once you leave the getting ready location, then it's kind of like run until like all the formalities are done at the reception.
Yeah.
So it's a nice little, I like it because you get to, again, we've like met with the couple extensively at this point, so we're familiar with them.
They know who
but
we are.
It's a good chance for us to get familiar with the bridal party, maybe the parents, all that sort of stuff.
Talk
just
some
kind of
fantasy
like
football with the dudes.
Talk fantasy football, connect with the photographer, just do some small talk, capture the things we need to capture, and then we start rolling with the rest of the stuff for the day.
I also really like the flat lays. I'm not the best at putting them together, but I really appreciate how they look. And like, I feel like a lot of people, those are shots that they could do without. Like other videographers would easily skip that. But I just like it because I just like how they look. I'm not great at putting them together, but when the photographer does it for me and I grab the quick shot, I think it looks good.
So that's actually one of our other hot takes is
I didn't even know that.
so well I put it down because I think we might have slightly differing opinions on this, but I think I'll use the term details are overrated. I don't think I love capturing details, but I think there's too much emphasis put on them, if that makes sense. And I'm talking flat lay stuff like you were talking about, even
like tablescapes,
even
like
tablescapes and stuff like that. And maybe it's just me personally. I just think, sure, I think it is part of the day. I will always capture it. And if there's like nice details, I'll love capturing it. But I think there's so many other things that are more important. And I think like the people aspect of things is more important than any form of detail. But that's just my take. And I think most people would agree with that on paper, but in practice, like a lot of emphasis just does get put into the details.
I think I do love capturing details as well, especially when I'm normally on a 50. I think details look good when it's a little tighter.
Yeah.
But I will say, I think I have actually like visibly noticed capturing details less than I once did.
You just be more intentional about it. Like we used to shoot the crap out of details, but then we realized like we could spend more time.
Now I grab like 3 shots of details. Like, okay, get that chandelier, get this one table, get that one plant. Okay, good then.
Yeah. And I mean, if your planner has set up like a really beautiful reception space, like best know we'll be having a fun time, like going through it, capturing all those things. It's not the most important thing. The most important thing is you two coming together. I think that kind of goes without saying. I think maybe some people will disagree with me, but
maybe
that's my take on details. What else you got for me?
Let's go with, so this is kind of, there's probably, I'm trying to think of other things that are in the same vein as this, but reception stuff like the champagne towers. I don't hate them, but I just think people do them wrong, which is why normally it doesn't come out as good as it could be. The problem that I think mostly happens is they only use one bottle, and the one bottle like doesn't flow down to all of them to make it look good. Like we shouldn't even be capturing it until they're on like the second or third bottle, because then it will look like all the glasses are full and it actually looks nice. Yeah. Because like when we do it on the first one, it's like, okay, the first glass is full and then the rest are just empty and gross. Yeah. And I think it just looks bad.
I think it's another one of those things that it's like, I'll use the label overrated because I think too much hype gets put on them. But like, I still love a good champagne tower if it's done properly. The other thing is they're super messy. They have the potential to crash and glass breaks everywhere and champagne spills everywhere. So there's that whole side of it. But I mean, aesthetically, I love them aesthetically. I think they look great. But like, overrated in my opinion, I guess. Too much hype.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what else in the reception. Like, I think sparkler exits are also overrated.
Oh yeah. I mean, people have tried to set you on fire.
Like, it's just happened too many times where I'm very anti sparklers now.
They like, it's not even like, there's a bunch of people, it's just drunk people holding sticks of fire. That's just a recipe for disaster. Yeah. And people have intentionally tried to,
like, my hair and like my arms, like trying to actually burn me on purpose. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah, it's not a good mix. Looks great if
does
everybody
look
does
good.
it looks great if everybody does their job and the couple comes through the little tunnel of sparklers, but there's just too much that can go wrong. But I do, if everybody cooperates, good little sparkler exit is nice.
I just think there are better ways to do exits now. I think unfortunately we haven't had one at a real wedding. I've only done them on like style shoots, but if I had a preference, I would do bubbles. I think bubbles look the best.
I've seen bubble processionals, flower petals.
Flower petals look good too.
I think more people should use flower petals. I've only seen it a few times.
Like the last one we did when you shot it in 120, I used the 120 and it looks good.
I don't even remember when that was, but
we were like exiting the church for our last wedding.
Oh yeah.
It looked good.
Oh, cool. I want to see that shot. Yeah. I'm team flower petal. Sure, it makes a mess, but just make sure everybody's on the same page and you have somebody to clean it up. And also you need to give directions to the people who are sitting in those aisle seats. Maybe even like put like, I don't know, a piece of paper on those seats. It's like, hey, you have flower petals. When the bride and groom are coming back down the aisle at the end of the wedding, your job is to throw those flower petals in the air.
It's like
spread them out.
It's what is it? That like fire door on an airplane, like you need to.
Yeah,
so you can only sit there if you're like prepared to do it. Yeah.
You need to get the flight attendants to do the whole safety briefing. It's like, okay, your job, throw the flower petals. Right. Nice.
I've seen like bark, literally like bark mulch. Like
what?
I think that was horrible. Like,
well, you need something light so it can like float down.
Yeah, it looked really bad, and like I feel like they were just getting pelted in the face.
It's like assault. Oh gosh.
I thought it was funny,
yeah,
but
those flower petals.
And it was brown. It's like it's nasty.
You don't want brown literal crap flying through the air.
That's low-key what it looked like.
Hey, everybody. Some people want to be extra earthy or something.
It was like a New Hampshire like fall wedding, but still.
Do leaves. Do freaking leaves. That's like leaves would be great at a like a processional exit for like a New Hampshire wedding specifically. Give me some like fake oak leaves or something. I would love to see that. So one of our couples, please do that. If you
I wouldn't
were
use
thinking
fake.
about
Just go over to the trees and just grab some.
Well, yeah, fake ones you get like the perfect shapes, like, and it's probably easier to find. That's the only reason I said that. But yeah, grab some real ones. Go climb some trees or whatever. Shake some trees down. Anyway, that was tangent. Let's see. How about some videographer specific takes or like creative industry specific takes? Actually, I have one more kind of like just general wedding take, and then we'll kind of dive into maybe some like camera team specific stuff.
Yeah.
But if you're performing a speech as a bridal party member or parent or something, print it out on a piece of paper and don't use your phone. I think, well, actually this kind of goes two ways. If you're using paper, it's not great for our audio because there's always like a lot of crinkling in the mic and stuff, but it just looks a lot more timeless than just like holding your phone up and like reading off your notes app. That's the only thing you have. Sure, fine, do it. But I think it looks a lot more timeless to just hold a piece of paper. I had one best man. He was like, oh, I promised the couple that the speech was going to be short. And out of his pocket, he pulled like a scroll. Yeah. And it just went down to the floor. It was hilarious. It's pretty a scroll is pretty timeless. Use a scroll.
I actually don't care that much. I think I used to care more, and I was like you. I would prefer paper. But
I think it's a photographer thing.
Nowadays, I honestly couldn't care less. I understand how much easier it is to use your phone. So use whatever you want. To me, it doesn't really matter.
I think if you're like a bridesmaid and you have like a bright like pink case with a pop socket, maybe just
okay. Maybe the case,
I think if you're going to use your phone, take your case off.
Yeah.
And then I think it's fine. Don't have like some weird like, I don't know. That's when it gets like icky or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just my take on that. So no speeches on your cell phone unless you take a case off. Creative specific stuff.
All right, so these are some that I wrote these down, and I definitely agree with a handful of these, but then there's some that I don't agree with. I just thought they would bring up some good conversation. So the first one I'll say here is something I heard the other day. Wedding videographers are making more content to impress other wedding videographers rather than for serving their clients.
Say it louder for the people in the back. No, yeah, I think...
I personally think that's true.
It's definitely true.
Like, we do it too.
Well, here's the reason why.
What do you think we're doing right now?
Yeah. Well, no, this is the reason why is because I think it's way easier for videographers to talk about videography related things and talk to other people in their network rather than create content that speaks to the couples. And I mean, this podcast, like we try to speak to both of those audiences because we want to build a good network with our other vendors and things like that. But we also want to provide education and insights for couples and people getting married and all that sort of stuff. But like who is your target audience at the end of the day? You're not going to get a lot of business from other videographers. You know?
I think it is a bit of that, but I also think like, and we tried to not, but I think you can say it all you want, but everyone in this industry does. I think it's an ego thing. Like even us, like we try to be as humble as possible and all, but there is definitely an ego part of it that plays a role, even if it's a subconscious thing. Like we just, as creative people, we like showing off our stuff. And that's just an innate thing.
All those things.
So like we want to impress other videographers. Like there's always a level of that somewhere.
Yeah, look at our gimbal, guys.
Yeah.
Sorry, that didn't work. Yeah, no. If you're, I mean, any vendor, think about who your target market actually is and create content focused to those people, because that's who's actually going to buy from you. We don't have a huge following yet, but everybody in that following is kind of following us for a reason, you know? So,
I mean, we just like talking about like video related things, even if it's not going to get us potential couples in the future. Like I would still just talk about it just to talk.
For sure. All right. I'm gonna let you give your opinion on this one. Shutter speed. Should you crank it? Should you not crank it? What do you do with shutter speed?
I will gladly shoot at 1/8,000.
No.
Like it's happened so many times, and like on our headsets he'll be like, oh yeah, I'm at like ND whatever, like we like lock in our like white balance and stuff, and he'll like also include his shutter, and I'm like, I'm at 1/8,000 because I don't use ND filters on wedding days. Like, okay, if I was in a perfect scenario, like in studio or like in a very, very controlled environment where I had plenty of time and zero stress or like even like zero thought of me like running out of time doing something, yes, I would prefer the look of the proper shutter speed.
The proper motion blur.
Yes, I would always say that, yeah, if I had to choose, I prefer that look. But I don't value that look over convenience and speed and efficiency. So when it comes to on a wedding day where it's high stress, high stakes, run and gun all day, I will gladly just crank my shutter if it means doing it fast enough to get the shot. Because there's so many times where I'm running from inside to outside and the amount of light drops significantly when you go inside. So instead of having to unscrew an ND if I have to, I just open the shutter back up and from outside, crank it back up, and it's fine. And the best thing about it is that only videographers will know the difference. Any run-of-the-mill average person will not be able to tell. Videographers are the ones that care.
Yeah. And I mean, you're not going to be able to tell the difference in shutter speed if it's a slow motion clip. That's a given. I'm a little in between. I make more of an effort to use ND filters because I just keep one in my pocket, and when the time is right, I'll screw it on. If I have, especially for setting up for the ceremony, I'm like, I have an extra minute here. Let me just screw on a filter, just do it properly.
Okay, I've at least been willing to do that now. Only because that's the only time I ever used my telephoto lens. So yeah, I leave my ND on the telephoto because it's a ceremony and that's fully in real time. So I've converted that, but on my gimbal, never.
If it's like an in-between moment, so sometimes there's like, I find this a lot in getting ready spaces. If you're like near a window, it might be like slightly too bright to just use the proper like shutter scenario. So I'll like crank it a little bit just because I'm not gonna, because they might move away from the window to do something else. And in that scenario, there's no time to screw on, screw off an ND filter. But if I'm going outside for couples portraits or something like that, usually I can even do it while I'm walking there. And usually I can do it quick enough. So I make an effort to do it, but it's not, I'm not like, you have to use an ND filter. It's not like,
I mean, I would argue you do it, I would say at least like 85% of the time. You normally like always have your NDs on.
Yeah. And I mean, some other, I guess, ND purists would be mad at me for keeping my ND filter in my pocket, but that's the thing I do for convenience.
I don't like that, honestly.
Yeah, I do that for convenience. I keep it, I don't put anything else in that pocket, so it's not going to scratch it. There's a cover on it, and I just screw it on quick, take the cover off, boom, I'm done. And if there is a scratch on it, I won't sacrifice the image quality. I'll just crank my shutter in that instance. But I have a good system, and I'll keep doing it that way. But I will crank my shutter in some scenarios. I'm not totally careless.
Jake Weiser said that another benefit is that you can get great screenshots. And that's true. Not that we use a lot of screenshots, but you could.
Usually I just grab it from a slow motion clip anyway when they're not moving much, but that's fine too. Yeah, sure. If your priority is the screenshot, then yeah, crank your shutter, man, instead of the moving image. But yeah, it doesn't, I think the take is your shutter speed on a wedding day doesn't matter that much. I think we can both agree with that.
Yeah. Like, I really do think the only people that care are other videographers who are low-key just being like snobs.
Yeah.
Like the client, whether it's a commercial thing or a wedding normal person, they will not be able to tell. Yeah. Only people with a trained videographer eye are going to be able to tell.
Yeah. Do the attention to detail when you can, but don't sacrifice convenience and speed and actually getting the shot. You might miss a shot if you're trying to screw on a filter or something. But all right, that's shutter speed. Let's see. Ooh, spicy. Slow motion is overused. What do you think about that?
I don't know, honestly. Like, it's hard for me to say otherwise because we use it a good amount. But
overused. Is it overused?
I guess not. I don't think I would say like overused. I
say we don't overuse it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think we do.
I think other people do. I think other people only use slow motion.
Right. And if your entire film is only in slow motion, then yes, that I think is overusing it. I don't think your entire film should be in slow motion.
I mean, we generally, when we select our music, the first half of the film is usually a little bit slower, more emotional. So it just goes better pace-wise.
That ties in better.
If it's a real moment that's unfolding with like some audio or something like that, we'll obviously keep that real time. Or if, it honestly just depends on the shot. We'll shoot for the flexibility to slow it down later just because we know, especially like detail shots, those definitely just need to be in slow motion because that's the way they look the smoothest. But sometimes the movement shots, like we can go either way. We'll make that decision in post-production.
Yeah, like you could easily have the two people walking and you could go either way and it would work.
I mean, some people will tell you like, no, you can't ever shoot in slow motion. You need to shoot 100% real and raw the whole time. And I don't agree with that.
No.
Yeah. Keep it at.
It really depends on your style. And like the people who say that are the people who shoot in that style and like don't shoot in slow motion. But your style does not apply to everyone else.
Shoot 24 for the formalities, shoot 60 for B-roll. That's our rule.
Yeah. I mean, that's the only time we ever actually switch our frame rate. Otherwise, we shoot in 60 the whole time and we just leave it in real time when we're editing. We don't actually shoot the real time.
Which again, people go back to ND purists go back to the shutter thing with that because they're like, oh my God, it looks so jittery. I'm like, no, it doesn't. Nobody notices except you. We'll notice, but not like if you're cranking it like crazy and you know you're not going to use slow motion, then make your shutter speed right. But yeah, slow motion is overused by some people, but we don't.
Not us.
I mean, some people probably would say we do, but like in our opinion, no. If you like our style, you like our style. If you don't, you don't. That is what it is.
I think 2024, we definitely used real time more than we have in the past.
There is a demand for it. There's a demand to have things more real and raw. We'll probably continue
that trend moving forward. But
it's all about being
slow motion
intentional.
will still be a part of our films for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Ooh, you have some real spicy ones.
Yeah, I was waiting for you to read it because I want to.
I was saving them to the end because I didn't. I was like, this is controversial. All right. You don't need to know your clients before the event at all to make a great film.
I personally 100% agree with this. Like, as I know you probably won't 100% agree.
I'll let you say your thing and then I'll say my thing.
But I just think that while yes, our goal as like our brand, we do value our connection and like relationship with our couples. However, I don't think it's necessary to capture the day. I think even if we didn't have a single Zoom call with our couples and we just show up and met them for the first time day of, nothing would really change. It wouldn't change our style. It wouldn't change how we capture things because we would get to know them instantly day of and quickly build that relationship in the first like hour. So as long as you're personable enough to do that in the moment, I don't think you need to know them prior at all. Because on the flip side, I've been second shooting for people, and there are times like as a second shooter, you have no idea who you're going in for. You just show up and you just shoot. But there have been multiple times where I almost felt more connected to the couple than the main shooter.
Yeah.
So I don't think you need to know them at all.
I think the part where it says you don't need to know your clients before the event at all to make a great film. True. But I'm going to add a comma. But if you do know them, it helps you make a better film. That's my opinion.
I would agree with that. Yes.
And I think because there's information we've found out during like our initial calls, getting to know them, things like that, that when we go to edit the film, it just makes it like you can add a little bit more of a personal touch, an extra layer to the thing, and it makes it more emotional. An example, we shot a wedding. I mean, they talked about it during their speeches at the wedding.
Zion?
Yeah. This couple had gotten engaged at Zion National Park. We had gone there previously. And since we knew that about them going into the wedding, I had kind of like, I knew I had footage on my hard drive
Zion footage
from Zion that I personally shot. Sure, I could have gone out and found stock footage or something like that, but having it having it come from my camera, I feel like was that much more special. And I think that nice little touch made it a better film than if it wasn't included.
I agree. So yeah, I do think that if you do know them, it could be a better one, but you don't need to know them to still make a really great film.
Of course. I mean, we're good at getting to know people the day of to do our jobs well, and we can still make a great film from that. But part of our process at SeaMount Weddings is we do want to get to know you before you guys even consider booking us.
Right.
That's just the way we roll. Last one, finale. What you want to read it? Because I read the last like 6.
I was just reacting to all of
Yeah,
fine. You don't have to like doing weddings, or you don't have to like shooting weddings to make amazing films.
Is this a projection?
No, this is what I heard the other day.
Okay.
But, however, I do agree.
Well, yeah, of course. Because, like, you don't have to like doing your job to do a good job. You can just do your job.
Exactly.
I hated being a cashier at a grocery store, but I still was a great cashier.
Right.
You don't have to, like, I was also good at school. I was academically inclined. I hated school. I didn't like it. You can still do a good job. Again, I'm going to add the asterisk. If you like doing it, you can do a better job, I think. Because if you're passionate about it, then that helps.
I agree with that as well. But yeah, I think there are times where, you know, your job is just your job. Like, you're just there to make money, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Like, every 9 to 5 person ever is just going to the job to make money.
Of course.
It's no different for us.
All it is at the end of the day. And again, we love connecting with people. We love sharing those stories, and we will continue to do that. Our job is still our job.
Yeah.
That's it. And we can still make great work regardless of it. Now, if we like absolutely dread being there, then like we might as well just not be there.
Right. And fortunately, we're not at that point yet.
Yet. I think it'll take a little bit.
I mean, look, there's times for sure where like maybe one of us just isn't having a great day. Like, that happens. And not everyone has a great day every day. So like maybe we're going into the day like a little down, or like not feeling our best, not at 100, and that's okay, because
the film's still going to come out
we
great.
can still do a good job.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I mean, I just completely forgot what I was going to say, but maybe it will come back to me. No, it's gone. That thought is gone with the wind. Yeah, you don't need to love doing it to do great work.
Yeah. I mean, there's been countless times like post-wedding on the drive home where it's like reflecting back in the day, and it's really like, did I like love every second of it? No. There was definitely some questionable moments, But I know at the end of the day, captured everything I needed to capture in a really nice way. Film's going to come out good.
Yeah. Oh, man, that's going to bother me now because I was going to drop a bomb, but I guess you guys will just have to wait. I'm going to think of it after this. But that was a pretty complete list of hot takes. We covered a lot of ground in that.
That's pretty much all I got.
That's all we got. I think there's plenty of hot takes, even like small, little, tiny, specific things about weddings we have some form of take on. So we'd love to do a part 2 at some point. If you guys think of any of your own opinions, we can either agree or disagree.
Just comments, let us know.
Comments, message us, all those sorts of things. But yeah, once again, if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to leave us a 5-star review on Spotify. If you're watching on YouTube, give us a like and subscribe. Follow us on Instagram at SeaMount Weddings. And if you're planning a wedding yourself, make sure to head over to SeaMountWeddings.com and send us an inquiry. We'd love to chat. Thanks for joining us.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.